Okay.
So if everyone else can mute, I'm going to mute you if you don't, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
Can you all hear me? Good.
Yep.
How do I get this thing turned off here?
We can hear you good.
Oh, that's better. Well, what do you think we're going to talk about today? Talking is happening. Who's talking? Who's listening? Realise it's all the one essence. That's all there is. Only that one essence. Call it God if you like, call it whatever different labels you like to put on it. It's only that. And that is something we already know. Because we say that is the chair, that is the room we're in, that's the table. Everything is already that. How it's appearing to be that. But the essence of it all is what they call presence awareness, or non-dual, one without a second, Sat Chidananda Nama Rupa. Words we put on, try and explain the unexplainable, and the inseparable, and the undivided. It's all that one essence. So there's nobody, no mind. Though it's appearing different, could be anything other than that in essence. So that's what needs to be recognised and understood. Is there anyone who is not aware there right now where you are? And you'll say, no, I'm not unaware. There is a knowing here, right now, that I am. But it's that I am that where we make the mistake, because we think the I am is this pattern, shape and form, this body mind. That's just expressing through this person. But as you just pointed out a minute ago, everything is that. There's no separate pattern, shape or form that's to be separate from that. So each and every one of us is already that. If we've taken on the belief that we are separate, we are this person, we are this individual. And because we've taken on that idea of separate entity and individual, we suffer because we feel isolated and insecure and separate from all these appearing things around us. But try and separate yourself or anything else from that screen at which it's appearing in. The screen is the space, the silence, the stillness. Postulate something that could be outside of space. What would it be in? If it wasn't from the background of space and silence, could there be any sounds, words? So anything any of this appearance separate at all. It's not. It's the one essence, pattern, shape and forming, experiencing and expressing as everything. So Shakespeare said that years ago, there's nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. And these patterns, which we call you, me, and everything else, have that capacity of thinking, of dividing, seemingly dividing. So there's nothing either good or bad. It must be the same thing. And it's discriminated by these so-called minds that are expressing through these so-called bodies. That the sense of separation comes upon us. But that body that you think is real there now, try and take yourself out of space right now if you can. And you realize you can't possibly get out of space. And how far do you have to go to think you're in space? Not very far to go at all. Where you're looking out of your eyes, the closest thing you see, the first thing you see, is that closest thing that's nearer to the eyes, is that space. Now, do you think that little bit of skin you call an eyelid can cut off that space or divide yourself from it? It can't. And space seems vast and distant. But look into it. Can you find any centre to it? That space is in front of your eyes right now. Try and grab it. Try and separate it. Touch it. Do what you can with it if you can. Then you might understand when, I think it was Tennyson that told us, that it's closer to your breathing. It's nearer than your hands and feet. Because it surrounds us, it's suffusing every particle of that body. Space is absolute. And all these words that are coming out now, what are they? Sound. Sound which, with the capacity of reasoning, become words. That intelligence energy that is expressing as and through this pattern and everything else in this manifestation enables in these particular patterns words to form, the capacity of reasoning, of thinking. And that thinking is a vibration. Word is sound. Sound's a vibration. And the vibration's a movement of energy. That's why I call it intelligence energy. Don't use the term God. Intelligence is knowing. And each and every one of you is knowing right now. Being, you're being now, knowing and loving to be. None of you want to be dead right now. So that's how they put it into Hinduism. Satchitananda is being, knowing and loving to be. And if you realise you are knowing right now, you realise you are being right now, or you are existence, you are conscious, and you're not unaware, and you're happy to be. Aren't you already that? Where does the sense of separation come from? You must already, and have always, and always will be that. having a look, investigating that. What would you say? Well, because of these words that I've got. I've learnt words. Was I born with any word? I can't remember my birth. Why can't I remember it? I can remember a lot of things now because I have these words. But if I wasn't born with any words, I can't say anything at all about it. But yet, in the seeming memory, there's an innate knowing that I was there. As Walt Whitman says, far down I see the first use no thing. I know I was even there. And isn't that the same with each and every one of you? You know that you were there then, in the seeming past, just the same as you are knowing you are right now. And that knowingness can imagine some future time. Well, when you understand the reality of it, you can't say there was a time when I was not. And you can't say there will be a time when I will not be. And what could that apply to? It can't apply to this pattern, shape and form now. But it can apply to the absolute, the non-dual, one without a second. You must realise that's all that has ever been, and it's all that ever will be. And you and I, that I'm talking about right now, have never, can ever, will be anything other than that essence which I am right now. And I tell you that, Ram Dass from it said, be what you are. Say it says, be still and know that I am God. I am this one essence. And also that God is one, the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient. Not some big daddy in the sky that's separate and apart from you. It's the absolute life essence that's breathing in, beating your heart, growing your hair in your fingernails, digesting your food, replacing cells in your body. You think you as the person or any science or any physicist can do that for you? So they talk about a power, some title describes a power greater than yourself, a higher power. But as soon as they do that, they put the separation on it and start looking or trying to recognise or become one with this higher power. But if it's absolute, what can be higher, what can be lower, what can be separate or apart from what you are already right now? This needs to be recognised and seen. Otherwise, we're forever in this conceptual belief that I am this person, I am this mask, I am this conceptual image. And I can't attain those great heights that we seemingly conceptualise and think to be real. Instead, what's left to do? Nothing but start from the fact that I am already that. Because I don't believe, start from the fact that I've got to become that and wonder why it hasn't happened yet. Well, can it happen to a fiction, a conceptual image, a belief? It can't. But without any concepts, any ideas, what's happening? Isn't there a breathing happening through that pattern? A heart beating? Hair and fingernails growing, food being digested? Isn't it vibrating into all these different pattern shapes and things? They're like shadows, all the things that are suddenly happening. Appearances. We put labels on the concepts or words. It all comes back to the word we've learnt, taken on board. And what are words? They're sounds. Doesn't sound disturb the silence? And the word is a sound, a noise, a vibration. Vibration to words. And the words become seemingly real because the patterns are seemingly there, seemingly recognized. But in its absoluteness, in its pure intelligence energy, absoluteness, what could you say, be said about it? What could be done about it? And who or what could say it? Nothing. It'd be like space is right now. When you take all the pattern shapes, forms out of it, can you separate it in any way, shape or form? You can't find a center to it. You can't find a circumference to it. You can't divide it. You can't grasp it. So what does the absolute do? To know itself, it forms patterns. The innate intelligence that it is forms patterns like these bodies, like the trees, the flowers, the planets, the stars, all the organisms and things, mountains and hills, and everything that appears in this manifestation. It's patterns which it expresses through. But there's so many patterns just like mouthpieces, and like these words are coming out of this seeming body. And this body's got all these organs in it, seeming life. Your computer's got all those, what do they call them? I don't know what the things in the computers are. The valves or whatever they are, that used to be now on radios, what's in the computer. If they weren't there, could anything express so? And yet it's got some amazing information to it. And that computer was formed by the capacity of reasoning that's in these human patterns. And those human patterns were formed by that absolute essence. And Shakespeare told us there's nothing either good or bad. The two ends of the one stick. They're not separate at all. The same as nothing else separate of them. But we separate them. So, and we've taken the presence awareness, the knowing that I am that resonates through this pattern as that particular thought. I am. I am is the sense of presence. The presence that's knowing with you right now that is there. Try and express it to somebody. Somebody asks you who you are, you'll say, I am so-and-so. The reality of it is the I amness, but the so-and-so, the label, the name you put on it, the appearance, is not so. That's what they call manifestation. They call Maya, an illusion, shape and form, nama rupa. Nama is the name, form is the shape, the pattern, the body, mind. And they tell you that those that have realised or recognised those seeming patterns should resonate with their true nature and recognise it, to put it into different scriptures, different traditions, different words. And that's because we've learned these words, we lose sight of it and get locked into the word. And all those around us are in the word. But there's few, always a few down through the ages have resonated with it. And that particular pattern, why not resonate? Why not recognise your true nature? You've taken on the erroneous beliefs, often enough, taken them to be real. And where's that got you? With that sense of separation, isn't there insecurity and vulnerability, unhappiness, fear, depression, self-pity, anger, all these conceptual, all these concepts which we've taken to be real, because that energy, that life essence, that life energy goes into the patterns as well. It's forming the patterns. It throbs through them like the life in this body right now. It's vibrating, it's pulsating, it's living. And we don't realise that life is one life, only life. As Sailor Bob told you, there is only life, only, not anything other than nobody who lives a life. See, we've taken on the side idea that this body, which we call I am, is doing the living. But how could it do the living? Where would it start? Start from a little sperm and ovum and start living from there? Or would it be that actual life essence that's in it, the intelligence energy that was in that sperm and ovum, knew what to do, had the power of knowing and the ability of forming, happening, shaping, forming. And what must you be then if you're not this body or mind? You must be the life. Like Christ tells you, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. He's pointing out that people thought he was talking about himself, and he's not. He's talking about that sense of truth. He's giving you the clue to look into that pointer, to follow it right through. And like the Snarker does just the same thing when he says, stay with the I amness. People think, oh, I've got to keep repeating I am all the time to stay with it. He's not meaning that at all. The name is Christ. Stay with the I amness. What's the I amness? Isn't it the sense of presence that you express as the thought I am? How could you tell anyone what you were if you didn't say I am? What is that I am? Isn't it only a thought, a mental construct? So you can repeat a mental construct forever and ever. What's it going to give you or do for you? But what it's representing, the sense of presence, the awareness of being, the knowing that you are. Presence awareness. That's the primary thought. I am. Who or what is I? Isn't it a vibration? And what do they say about this manifestation? What do they say the basic start of it all is that moan on I am. But we've altered it a little bit. We put all these concepts on it and beliefs in something. It's the primary sound, the primary vibration. You know that you are. And isn't that when the seeming life expresses a person came into you with the learning of words? And all this seeming patterns in the basic space, in the emptiness, the cognizing emptiness, pattern shapes and forms appear. And what have we done with them? We put the word on them, the sound, the words, put the labels on each and every one, separate it into the myriad diverse pattern shapes and forms of it. Separate the oneness into the many. And it needs to do that to experience it and express itself through them. Like as again, I point out in the scripture, Shiva, Shakti. Shiva is the static aspect, the basic screen. Shakti is consort. They depict him as the Shakti as the partner of Shiva, the female aspect. She vibrates or dances, and the world appears. And isn't that so? What all these appearances, they're vibrating patterns of energy, aren't they? We're broken down into that. And they call it the dance of Shiva. We've taken the two to be separate, the divisions to be separate. And the problem with that is all it puts those senses or feelings which we divide up, all divided by the word and seemingly separate. And that's the cause of all the psychological suffering. It's only me who can be unhappy. It's only this conceptual image me can be fearful, angry, guilty, depressed, jealous, envious. Being a vibration, it's always vibrating as other than the absolute. The absolute, without the vibration in it, is fullness, it's totality, it's joyous, full of compassion, love, happiness. But with the division applied, so the only thing that can be opposite to it is a belief in separate entity. We've taken a part of the absolute and set it up as the person. And that separate person is fearful, it's anxious and unhappy, depressed. It is the cause, the belief in that separation is the cause of all my psychological suffering. Now they tell you about a thing called karma. Basically cause and effect. And we've got all these causes and effects. What if you ask yourself the simple question, can there be an effect without a cause? You don't have to be a road scholar to work that out. If you're not relating to any cause, where can the effect lodge? You're not separate. So we're so locked into this belief in karma and what it's going to do. Just recognise that. And you've got rid of it already. It's gone. Where does that leave you? Leaves you as you already are and always was and always will be. Free of the cause. Now, if there's no cause going on, how are you going to stay unhappy, resentful, guilty, and all these other conceptual things come up if you can't relate it to anything? And that's what relationship is. Relativity is relationship, and that's duality. Me and other, too. But I can point out it's absolute, there's not two. That's what we go on about. Advaita is non-duality, one without a second. They put that without a second, not the time second, but one without the other. Point out that it never changed into duality from its absolute. That never can and never will. And the cause of all my problems is we took on the word and believed that the word was real. Words can be very useful, but because they're seemingly divided, we relate them to this conceptual image instead of relating it, believing it with the absolute. We're in those. Well, if you realise that there is only the one essence, who can ever be superior to you? Who can ever be inferior to you? What would you want of the other person? If you know you and I and everything else is that one. And like it says in the Bible, prodigal son, son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. That's true. If you don't are that one essence, what would you want of the other person? Who can be superior to you? Who can be inferior to you? Why would you want to go to war? Why would you want to hate or be jealous or angry? Wouldn't you wish it all well and leave it as it is? No expressing in its oneness. So that's the fact. Find out that you are not this person, and your life, if it's unhappy now, if you're not happy or content with it, you'll see the change. You'll still recognise the difference. And you realise what is said. Christ said, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. And as Magdalene says, stay with that I amness, that sense of presence. Recognise it, realise it, know it as the truth. Know the truth, and the truth will set you free. All these different statements all point to it. All point to the reality, the actuality. Not the conceptual image, not the thought up pattern, shape and form, and the believed in thing that will happen. Look into time too, and see how real that is as we take it. See that in that one essence, there's nothing absolute, there's nothing can be added to it, nothing taken away, nothing can be ever lost. The appearance might disappear, and it does. But the life essence that's in it hasn't gone anywhere. Like that saying, somebody wrote once on a coffin or put something in the paper. Loving friends be wise and dry straight away every weeping eye. What you see upon the bier is not worth a single tear. It is a simple seashell, one out of which the pearl is born. The shell is nothing, leave it there. The pearl, the soul, the one essence, is here right now, everywhere. It's another way of describing it all. But when you look into this, you realise there's nothing can ever take you away or out of that natural state that you are in. And the pattern, shapes and forms, love them for what they are. They might, some of them might be bent and broken and seemingly, the life that's expressing through them is that absolute joyousness, love, compassion, pure life, pure being. And you are that. Know it for certain. And there's people there's quite a few of you who've got a good grasp of this, a good understanding. And that's how it has been passed down since through the so-called timeless time, and passed on. Some of you might have been lucky to have recognised it from your birth. When you came into existence, you haven't gone into the pattern of dividing it. But others have suffered badly because of it. See now, not only ourselves, but loved ones, everything around us come and to go, disappear, and not realising that where they've gone back into the natural state. We've taken them as separate, like ourselves, and mourned them. That hasn't helped us any either. But the only thing we can do is start from the fact of your own being. Know that saving presence came out of your parents and those around you. Your parents, like mine, are probably gone long ago. But the footprint I left you and left it with the same capacity that I had to pass it on, to recognise it in yourself, live it and pass it on where it can be some help to those who are locked, sadly and seemingly, in this belief, in this pattern. Recognise that life is what you are, and that life lives on life. So, the seeming living on life, we eat animals, birds and insects and things like that. And the viruses that live in us, their life also. Life lives on life, but out of life, more life is continually coming. And the patterns of vehicles, although in this present time, are useful. They are the patterns, shapes and forms and which the next pattern, shape and form will appear from, come from, and carry on the life. So it doesn't have to be miserable, unhappy, depressed, fighting with each other. Carry on. And it won't in that recognition of your true nature. Because you say that nothing has ever been lost. Nothing can be ever be added to it. The same takes place in this conceptual idea of time. You look into time and see that's just a concept also. Well, where does that leave it? Let's realise that it's spontaneous. Right here, right now, in this seeming moment. Spontaneous. When does now begin? We're saying right now I am. But even as you're saying that, it's gone. And you've got to grasp it afresh. Every moment, so-called moment. That's a portion of time also, so there's no such thing as a moment. Now it all appears to be so. Know for certain you are that, be that, and it'll carry on from there. That particular pattern might be there to see it. The life essence that's in that pattern right now has never ever anything been added to it, but nothing ever taken away from it. And again, as I think Ramdas said, be what you are. Don't be this miserable, unhappy persona, this mask of concepts, false images we've taken ourselves to be. No. Some of you can add to it. You've got a good grasp of it. Some of you might be going along the track, seeing, recognising bits. Some of you might be new to it and have some questions. Don't hesitate. If you're pulled to look at this stuff now, don't hesitate to investigate it further. Because nothing can, the false cannot stand up to investigation. If you recognise the false that's in you, false concepts and ideas you're taking on board, you must be left with the truth. And there it is again, know the truth. And the truth will set you free. Well, there you go. Amen.
Hi, Bob. Can you hear me?
I can.
Jalaja.
I
Well, I do have a question. But first of all, I just want to say thank you because your teachings, I don't know, they reach me in a way that I've never experienced before. Where when I hear you speak, I know that it's truth.
And
So
that's truth, recognising itself, resonating with itself.
it's beautiful. Anyway, I'm very grateful. So my question is, last time when we spoke, I had asked you about sort of practice in daily life, and you said that I should try, you said something like I should try to live as much as possible in the singularity. You used that word singularity. And I wanted to ask you, could you say more about what that means or what that is, the singularity?
Well, singular, what does singular mean? One.
Right?
Single is one. So I didn't say try to do it, we can't do it. I said let it rest. Just relax into it. Uncontrived singularity. Meaning we're not trying to change the singularity, contriving thoughts, concepts, ideas, and images on it. It is single and simple. One essence, patterning, shaping, forming, appearing, expressing as everything. Absolute. You're already there. So just, and as I say, you're resonating with it, something you're hearing the words and resonate. Let that resonation, just relax into it. And because that resonation there, hearing it, and it's seemingly been obscured for a while, it needs a little bit of recognition to stay, to renew itself or reveal itself more. And let rest in it. Things you hear, let it rest and see what comes up, see what it brings up, what thoughts, words, ideas, or images. And it grows naturally of itself. Because it's a spontaneous resonance is happening there. And that's naturally there. For the first couple of years of your life, you didn't have any words. You were living without the word. And there wasn't that sense of separation.
Right.
When we learned the words, we isolated ourselves and separated ourselves. Before that, we were seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling. You didn't have any words, so if you were hungry, you'd yell and your parents would look after you. And whatever. The life was functioning just the same as it was in the womb while you were growing. That life has always been patterning, shape and forming that little fetus, that little embryo, which you are today.
Thank you.
Good morning, Bob. Namaste.
Morning, Emma.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. What have you got for us today?
Yeah. Just a small example for Jalaja. Just we are seeing Bob, along with Bob, we are able to see the kitchen. There is a chair. There are so many objects, just like one internet or charge. We are able to see as so many things, but we cannot see the charge or internet. Similarly, within a fraction of a second, everything is created simultaneously, but nothing is created. It is so subtle and so fast. We cannot grasp in the thought. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
I was thinking about how this mind has been fascinated by current events, going on in the media and the government and the forcing of vaccinations and all that stories and everything, and the drama that sometimes comes up when I think about it. But then the thought has been coming also that if there's been any resistance to all of that's been going on, there's a sense of a resistor. That there's somehow a me that's separate from that government entity that's putting in all the controls and all that stuff. So anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in, that I just thought that kind of took away some of the edge, some of the sting of that me versus them, that I can fight them, I can whatever.
What comes through that needs to be done, you'll do it. So it's not the person that does any of it. You've been helped all the way through. And I was saying, you're not going to lay back and do nothing. Or it won't be you, the person. Let life is expressing through that seeming is only it will do. And that's the way it functions. The opposites come up, they're not separate. And when it's in the so-called bad end, something will come up and recognise and bring you back to the equilibrium where it works out. Or it might take your head to like some of the great lines and things like that. There's some solution to the problem. It's the way life is fashioned. It's living, being, right here, right now.
One of the things that occurs to me in relationship to the dialogue, Bob, between you and Jalaja, is it Jalaja? Jalaja?
Yes, Jalaja.
Jalaja.
You got it.
Was that the search, my experience of the search was always an adding to. There was always something that I was going to add to or strategize, or I'll do something today and it will bring me this tomorrow. And then Bob, when you said the part about basically relaxing into what is already there, like that just fills me with calm. It just so loving and helpful and kind.
There we have the natural resonation and recognising it. It brings about the calmness and contentment. You are that.
As Bob says, when there is peace, no mind. There should not be a mind. So that apparatus should not be there. Completely.
Morning, Bob and everyone. What resonated strongly for me today was, Bob, when you say start with that you're already that. And when I look at that pointer, if I start with the fact, the reality that I'm already that, there's nowhere for the mind to go. And so that was strongly resonating today. And what Julia was sharing about, the image that came up was, like a wave in the ocean. If you leave the wave alone, it'll eventually settle down. But if you try and settle the wave down, it'll just create more waves. And so that was just the image that came up today. Thank you, Bob, and great to see everyone this morning.
Thank you, JP. That was a good way of putting it. Yeah.
Everything is water, whether it's a wave or a just not wave, no difference. Just water. No need to settle. I'm
setting. I wanted to be settled. No need, nothing. Just you are already that. No need of any words or thoughts. So simple. I'm telling you, Bob. I'm getting the tears of bliss. Just the glance of a master. Everything will be vanished. So grateful to you, Bob. Cannot express the gratefulness to you.
Thank you. It's got you. You can't do anything about it. Come on, Rosie, you look, you've got something to say. Unmute yourself. Can't hear you.
Thank you, Bob.
That's better.
Thank you. You and others are saying that we're already that. The last thing that that gentleman just said was, or you said it, Bob, I can't, or one of, or you both said it, that we're already that. So just the man who's just spoke, he said something like, you're already that, so there's nothing you have to do. But then it feels like if I don't do something, I'll just be in my normal consciousness with its identification and stuff. And then that thing you said, Bob, just relax because you're already that. And relax into the presence and the I am. Does that mean, I've been at this forever, but my mind comes in doubts that I'm even doing that right. The relaxing into the I am. Does that mean you just sort of like look around the room and there's something that's seeing the room and there's something that's hearing and somehow kind of try to look for that, like point your attention onto that? When you said like stay with the I amness and you said just relax into it, can you describe it a little bit more? Because sometimes I question if I'm doing it.
Well, are you the body?
I know the body is just a thing, and without the breath and the life, it's just a shell. I still, like, I'm having this anxiety now because people were saying that like we're on the brink of war with China and the whole collapse of society, and there won't be food, and there's going to be food shortages, and I have to say that that I can see that has caught my attention and that there's anxiety. So if I just relax back into the I am, it's just like watching that. It's just aware that my little mind and body are sort of scared and imagining, like they said there won't be food in the grocery stores. And
Yeah, so you got this conceptual image about some future time. Yeah. Is there a future time?
no, there's just now.
Just now. So if you're not entertaining those concepts, what is wrong with this nowness?
Right now, nothing.
So what's, if you just now, what's happening in that thing you call your body?
It's just living. The heart is beating, the blood is pumping through my cells.
And thoughts are coming up.
Yep.
So who's the thinker of those thoughts?
Who's the thinker of those thoughts?
Yes.
There's a belief, I guess, unconscious that somehow there's,
There's a thinker.
that there's a thinker and that thinker is me, but I know what you're saying is the thoughts are just thoughts. There is no thinker. The thinker is the thoughts themselves, right? Like the thought that That there isn't an actual thinker, it's just the thoughts, right?
There's thinking. What's your next thought going to be? You don't know. The thinking comes up, the thought comes up. Then you say, it's me, Rosie, has become the thinker. So the theming, have a look at what Rosie is the thinker, or the thought comes up, it's me, Rosie, thinking. Thinker, me, Rosie, has become a subject, a separate entity, a subject. And the thought you're thinking has become the object. So you've divided the thinking into subject object. You say, I'm thinking this and what's going to happen and so on. So you divide into something subject object. What are we saying here? There's one essence. Now, can there be a thinker without thinking? And can there be the thought without thinking?
What was that?
I say, can there be a thinker without thinking?
No.
Can there be the thought without thinking?
No.
Well,
So there's
just done away with the thinker and the thought, the subject and the object. Where does that leave you?
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
I say
Where
you're
does that?
just done away with the thinker and the thought. Thinker and thought are pointed out with subject object, dualism. There can't be a thinker without thinking, there can't be the thought without. So you are the thinking. What's that enabling that thinking to happen?
What's that? What? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
What's enabling the thinking to happen? You can't relate it to a thinker or the thought, the subject object. It's just pure thinking.
So there's just thinking is what you're saying?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the spontaneous vibration of life? Thinking, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching. But you put it onto the personal, I think, I see, and you take that to be Rosie. So you've just divided the indivisible, the absolute. Can there be a thinker without thinking? Can't be a thinker without thinking. You've done away with the subject. If there can't be the thought without thinking, you've done away with the object. So when you look at that, there's thinking, there's breathing, heart beating, seeing, tasting, touching, smelling. The ing, the functioning, is the actuality. The conceptual images you're putting on them are the division. Everything I has to do something, or I can do something, or I feel, or relating to the conceptual image. It's seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, smelling, functioning, ing, experiencing, not the experiencer or the experience, but experiencing. And that's all happening in the immediacy, not happening at some future time, in the past time. The ing is the activity that's going on right now. That activity of knowing is the life that's happening right in this immediacy. You are that life. Using that seeming pattern you call those is to express through. When you take it to believe that you are the thinker, the doer, then you suffer accordingly because of that. Because the thoughts will come up as happening to me, and the pain, the sorrow, and the jealousy, the envy will go into that conceptual image. It makes it seemingly worse and seemingly terrible. But can there be a thinker without thinking?
No.
Can there be the thought without thinking? Well, there can't be. You've done away with subject-object. Where does it leave you? You haven't disappeared. Your heart hasn't stopped beating. Hair and fingernails haven't stopped. Thoughts haven't stopped coming up. But it's just a spontaneous functioning, like the earth rolling around the sun. Tides are coming out, seasons coming and going, galaxies are forming, imploding, exploding, or doing whatever they're doing. Life is happening, but you're not relating to the conceptual image, putting the limitations and boundaries on it, which brings about the fear, the unhappiness, the guilt, the shame, remorse, all concepts, all words we've learned. The energy of belief goes in, they seem very real. But what is wrong with right now if you don't think about it?
You know, I never thought before that the thinking was the same as the heart beating. I've never heard, you know, you probably said it 1,000 times, but I never realized that you're saying the thinking is right on here with the heart beating. It's all just happening.
It's just happening.
And I somehow saw the thinking is different than the heart beating, which is totally involuntary and no one's doing it.
Yes, that's the problem. When we believe that the thinker, the person, separate entity, the individual, put all those concepts in, think it's a personal doership, but it's not. It's a natural, spontaneous function. Natural meaning as in nature. Day, night, winter, summer. Nature is spontaneously happening in nature. And are you different from nature? The cells, the body, the hair, the fingernails, the same as what's out there in nature, the trees, the flowers, the space, everything. So it's all that innate intelligence energy. The godliness, if you like to use that term. It's doing the living, expressing, patterning, shaping form. In other words, it's vibrating. The dance of Shakti, Shiva, the dance of Shiva, Shakti dances, vibrates. In all pattern, shapes and forms, all vibrating expressions of life. What did Christ tell you? I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Not talking about himself, we're talking about that sense of presence that translates through the mind as the thought I am. Just a thought. He said, that's the way, go to that I amness. There's a sense of presence. Are you aware of being present right now?
Yes.
So you must be that presence awareness. Right here, right now. You're not unaware. And you're present. Yeah. But when you put Rosie on and this and all this and what's happening and what's not happening, adding all sorts of concepts to the non-conceptual, ever fresh presence awareness is how they put it. Absolute. The cognizing emptiness. You are the cognizing of that pattern you call Rosie right now. The knowing of it. The pattern of the name you put on, or the label you put on, you've separated from its unicity, its absoluteness, into the conceptual image of me. And what do they say? Know the truth. Recognize that you are that essence. And the truth will set you free, in knowing that you're free of the conceptual beliefs we've taken on and reinforce them by thinking about them every day. Our parents reinforce them, our school and society, everybody around us are reinforcing it, so it's seemingly real. But there are a few that see through it and point this out to you. Ones who have recognized it. But not everybody is willing to hear it.
Thank you, Bob. Most of the times we confuse. You are, that means you and that are not different. We are everything. That means there is no difference between that and you. We are Bob, whatever we are saying, everything is that. It's not like that body, that me, that thought, that first thing. Second thing, most of the times we confuse I. There is no I. I itself is a thought. Third thing, we are never ready to accept the uncertainties in life. We don't know. Just Bob says, what thought comes, we don't know. When we know that cloud cannot touch the sky, so thoughts cannot touch me. So we are already free. Already free. Not only me, everything is free. Everything is free. No one is born. Then it will be only fun.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, Bob, very kindly. Thank you very kindly.
Thank you, Rosie. Know it for yourself.
I'm trying.
Don't try.
Accept it.
You don't try to take that breath you just took or beat your heart. It's happening. It's the life of you. You are the life. Know that. Life lives on life and expressing as life.
What was that?
I say life lives on life. And out of life more life comes and expresses as life. You are that life. Just transfer get rid of the idea that you're the person, the body, mind, entity, and go to the absoluteness, the life, the pure being, the pure intelligence entity, the activity of knowing, and realizing that knowing is going on right now. The seeing is going on, the hearing is going on.
And are you suggesting even conceptually with the mind, just stop saying I am the body and the thoughts and just say I am the life, that, and the awareness that's here? I mean, is you're saying there's even value intellectually to taking that position if you haven't even realized it?
Yes, you take that, but what do you think is intellectual? What's the difference between intellectual and pure intelligence?
I thought maybe intellectual was a concept or a thought, like adapt the thought or the position, that I am the absolute or I'm the life.
Yeah. Well, that is different from what Chris, but where is it coming from? If that life wasn't there, could you even have that intellect?
Yeah.
Pure intelligence. Not the thought I am, that's how it's translated to express, but the knowing, consciousness or awareness, that labels you put on. Everything is that. So even though we seemingly separate with the intellect, intelligence, it's still the one essence in all its appearances. It's got to have something to express through. In its absoluteness, you can't add anything to it, can't take anything away from it. So it forms patterns out of its own essence to express through. And those patterns learn words and separate the seeming pattern into subject-object dualism. It's never changed its absoluteness. Whereas it's timeless and spaceless, it's ever fresh. Presence, awareness. Are you unaware right now? No. So you must be present, absolutely, spontaneously, naturally, right here in this immediacy.
You know, what comes up for me is when the body dies, I just can't, I imagine that I won't be here aware from this perspective of this body.
No.
And I don't know if there's just awareness floating around. Do you know what I mean? It seems like if I die or when I die, I won't have that capacity for awareness. So that's why it seems tied up with the body.
Well, where was it before you were born?
What was that?
Okay. Where was it before you were born? That capacity of reasoning.
Where was the capacity to breathe before I was born?
Of reasoning, of thinking, saying in the body or not the body.
I don't think it existed, did it?
Oh, where did you come? Where did you come from? How did you come into being?
Through the sperm and egg of my parents and the life force.
Yeah. So what must you be? A life force itself.
Right. But do you get what I mean? Like once this body is gone, well, I won't be aware of it, right?
And you weren't aware of it before it arrived.
Before I was born.
Yeah.
Right. So the body and its particular awareness will not be here, but there'll just be some general awareness.
Life will be there. That's what I'm saying. It's only the one life, the one essence. You are the life, not the pattern, shapes and forms which it expresses through.
But is the life just like floating around like amorphously and then it came into my body?
Well, isn't it made up of the food essences you're eating now and the breath?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I say, isn't that body made up of the food essence, the food you're eating, the essence of the food, and the breath?
Yeah.
And it needs the organs to express through and pattern through. But look around you. What are the trees? What are the flowers? What are the animals, the birds, the insects, the outer people? Aren't they all expressions of that life?
Yes.
Where did they come from? Postulate to think of something outside of space. Cognizing emptiness. What is that emptiness? That emptiness is the capacity of cognizing or knowing. And the emptiness is form. And the form is nothing other than the emptiness. So it appears as these separate entities, these individuals, and persons, shapes and things. And we continue to divide them up and form the seeming shapes and forms we take them to be other than the one.
Right. Right.
Taken to be other than the one, we've separated them.
Yes.
But what is functioning through each and every pattern, shape and form? Would you call it life itself?
Right. Like life is in the tree and then the tree dies
Yeah,
and then it's just dead wood and goes back to the earth.
yeah.
So there's something.
And when is there and you and everything else gone? Can you postulate anything out of space?
Can you imagine anything outside of space?
Postulate or think of anything that can be outside of space? What would it be in?
No, I guess it has to be in space.
It's that space-like awareness, cognizing emptiness. That's what they call it, space-like awareness. It's like space. And emptiness is form. It's that space-like awareness of emptiness that's forming and patterning all the things that appear in it. And the forms can be nothing other than the emptiness. Pointing out that you and I and all these other forms are not separate from that emptiness. Whether the life is expressing through it or not. If it came out of the emptiness, where can it go? Is there anything other than the emptiness that it came from or can go back to? Nothing at all you can postulate outside of that. So nothing's ever lost. You put a million atom bombs into this earth right now and blow it into.
What was that?
I say you can put a couple of thousand atom bombs onto this earth and blow it out. Now, this earth, you couldn't say it was an earth anymore, but the subatomic particles or whatever is left, where would it be? It'd still be in space. There's nowhere it can get outside of or way or any other thing you can go, except out of space. So it's all contained in that cognizing emptiness or space-like awareness. The silence, the stillness, the space, everything, pattern, shapes and forms and appears in that. What must you be?
That space.
I am that essence or space-like awareness or absolute, whatever label you put on it. But we don't. We take I am this person, this individual, this separate entity.
So just that's not the truth. That's not the truth. That I'm an individual, personal entity. That is not true.
Yes, that's what I say. Investigate and see for yourself. Are you the body? You say my body. Even to say my body, you say my house, my car. You know you're not the house, the car. So if you're not the body either, are you the mind? My mind. Am I this person? My person. Idea. You're more than that. You're absolute. There's no separation in the absolute. Now it appears to be separate. Everything appears to be separate. That's the manifestation. Phenomenon. Definition of phenomena is that which appears to be. Finding out that all this is appearance only.
So it's an illusion.
Hmm?
It appears to be a body, but it's really the formless taking on the body.
Yes. It's an illusion, as you said, it's an illusory illusion.
You know that idea that this is all a dream?
Yeah.
Can you speak about that a minute?
Well, You go to sleep at night and you dream. And in that dream, you can be in the mountains or the ocean, shopping malls, the homes, anywhere at all. You can appear in that dream. Other people can appear in it. The mountains and all are appearing in it. And it's seemingly very real. You wake up in the morning, it's all disappeared. And you realise in that dream, no words had come out of your mouth. And your body hadn't moved off the bed. So it seemingly happened, but nothing happened. But what you don't realise is when you wake up to this dream. And this is a living dream. The difference between the waking dream and this waking dream, every morning when you wake up seems to carry on from what you left off the night before. And the mountains and the hills and the rivers and all those things are still there. And in that dream at night, they're all disappeared, they're all gone. They seemingly carry on each day. You wake up until the body disappears, the dream character disappears. But the life or the essence, the seeming dreaming, seeming still going on. Not for that particular pattern. That particular pattern has gone back to its natural state, which it always was. The space-like emptiness itself, the absolute.
Is there value to, like, intellectually and conceptually reminding myself that this is a dream, or is there no value to that?
It's a lot of value.
Pardon?
As I tell you, one of the scriptures tells you, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
How would you renew your mind?
Well, through an insight, right? A direct revelation and insight. But short of that, are you suggesting that it's okay to just remind myself it's a dream and just, intellectually, if I haven't realized this through insight?
Remind yourself that you are the absolute. You're not
There's
the dream.
benefit. Mm-hmm.
Keep reminding yourself, and the more you remind yourself and relax into that, the less you're going to stay in the conceptual image trying to become something, which will never happen. There's no becoming in being. Being can never become. It's always pure being. And you know that too. You call God the supreme being, you call yourself a human being. Take away the label of supreme, take away the label of human. Try and separate the beingness without the label. You can't say, I'm not being. You can shout it from the housetops if you like. The very fact that you're able to shout from the housetop implies that you are still being. So it's there whether you say it's not. It's the same with the rest of the manifestation when you look at it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear some of that.
I'm speaking too low.
Maybe it's not. I think it might be the Australian accent that I don't know. Or maybe my mind wasn't as clearly focused. I don't know, but I missed something you said about. But anyways, that's okay. I'm catching the vast majority of it. That's for sure. I'm hearing it fine.
And what's resonated will be there.
What's resonated with what?
Like I say, what's resonated, that innate intelligence, as you know, that's the knowingness in you, hears something and resonates with it.
I totally believe what you're saying is true. I have no doubt that you're right. I just don't always, I just am not experiencing it, but I believe you. I
Yeah,
can,
well, that's what's believing or resonating. You know, it's recognizing itself as true nature. And that'll come up again in your own words and your own insights. Or you'll hear it somewhere else and might read something. But what resonates is the innate intelligence you already are, is recognizing itself. So cognizing emptiness. Emptiness is a form. It needs to recognize your true nature.
well, thank you kindly. Thank you very kindly. This
Thank
is,
you.
this is being recorded, is it not? Is this being
Yes, it-
recorded?
Yes, it
Julie.
is. And if you want, send me an email or something, or I'll shoot you my email address and I'll try to put it, I have to put it on YouTube. That's the only way I know how to share it, is if I put it uploaded to a YouTube link. I might be able to put it on my own channel. I mean, that's the only thing I have. I'll put it on my channel, but then I can email you if I have your email address.
Should I put my email in the chat? Because I don't know how to,
That'll
I
work.
don't,
That'll work.
I don't
Or you
know
can just
your-
email me if you want.
I don't know your email address.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put mine in the chat.
Okay, or
Okay.
I could just give it now to everyone in the chat, and then anybody who wants to have this recording can just email me. If that's okay with everyone, because I'm putting it in now in the chat for everybody. And then if anybody who wants I've just done it. My email address is there. Anybody who wants the recording, I've been recording this meeting.
Can
And
you say, oh, okay, so you probably don't want to say, okay, thank
there
you
it is.
kindly.
I don't mind saying it. Everyone here, I've just
So
I
that's
put it in
okay,
the
because
chat.
that might end up on YouTube if you say it, so,
Yeah, I'd rather not put it on YouTube.
yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Okay. It might show up on YouTube if this.
I think it just went away. I think it
Okay.
just went away.
Here, I'll send it to you again to everyone.
Is there something else up there now?
You see it?
Hold on, if someone else put, okay, hold on 1 second.
That's all right.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you. We are grateful to you.
Oh, I'm grateful
very
to
much
everyone for
grateful.
being here. I love this community
You
and
are
I love Bob.
You are doing lot of service and lot of love. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Nice
I know
to
how
meet
much
you.
pain it is to host all these things and all. Yeah, we are very much grateful to you.
You're up really early. I was just looking at the time zone in India. I mean, you had to get up at like
Yeah,
what, 3:30 in the morning or
yeah.
something to join us.
Yeah, morning 4 o'clock.
Oof.
We have to start here.
Oh, that's commitment.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bob. Thank you, Bob.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
all.
Bob.
Thank you,
very
Bob.
much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
See you all next week. Everybody come back next week.
Bye.
Lots of love.
I know you're all that, even if you don't.
Good, I'm glad.
Thank you, Julia. Bye.
And we are that. No,
Yeah.
There's only that.
there's only that. There's not
Thank
even a we. There's just that.
Yeah.
Everyone is that. Everyone is that.
Yeah. Love you.
Love
Love
you.
you. Thank you
Thank you.
kindly.
Bye.
Love you.
Bye.